So this is Faith, who is a New Forest crossbreed foal, and Faith has been in the farm a few months now. She came in as a result of an RSPCA prosecution investigation. As World Horse Welfare, I attended a farm where Faith was currently living at the time, and she'd been recently purchased, and as a sort of unhandled foal, she had all the sort of normal things that you would expect in terms of no experience of being handled. So the reason that I'd been called was that some CCTV footage that had been taken at the livery yard had picked up a pretty prolonged series of, well, the only way I can sort of phrase it is a beating, an attack. The reasoning that we're led to understand is that he was trying to hold to break her, trying to put a head collar on her. She'd had a head collar on previously, but it had been removed for some reason, and he had gone into the stable whilst the owner was stood outside, and he had gone into the stable to try and achieve putting the head collar on. For reasons that are really just difficult to understand, the way that he went about that process was incredibly aggressive. He was using, I think it was the head collar or the lead rope to actually sort of whip her. She was reacting by kicking out, trying to kick him, having legs in the air, and the situation really rapidly deteriorated. And this prolonged attack went on for, I believe, sort of roughly 45 minutes. It was harrowing to watch. So on the day that I went to go and see her, to go and look into the matter, this was a couple of days after the attack had happened. And Faith was in a stable at that point. And when I opened the door to go into the stable to approach her, I can genuinely say that in all my time of working with horses, I've never seen a horse or pony or foal react in the way that she did. It was just instant that she was absolutely terrified of any person going near her, and she immediately turned her backside onto me and reversed at speed. Just that sort of motion of me opening the door to go into the stable was enough to terrify her, for her to have that reaction to any human being. Which then, when I went on to look at the CCTV footage, I then fully understood why she reacted in that way. Having seen what had happened in that snapshot, it was of such a serious nature that I knew that this was going to need to be investigated with a view to a prosecution. So at that point we involved the RSPCA, who came to the yard, viewed the same footage I'd seen, and then had a vet look at the footage as well, and the consensus was that there was suffering there that had to be investigated, and in order to do that, then Faith had to be removed from those people to protect her welfare and to ensure her safety, and that was absolutely the right thing to do. So we removed her, having been seized by the police, and took her to a place of safety.
So when I first met Faith, she was very, very scared of people and any sort of human interaction with her. My first memory is her essentially cowering at the back of the trailer when we went in to unload her. So I think we get fairly used to seeing them come in unhandled, and a lot of them are generally scared of people, but she had a real big expectation of what she thought we were going to do to her, and her reaction, rather than just being scared, was defensive. She wouldn't give you any chance to have any nice interaction with her. It was all just yeah, she just turned her bum straight on you, and yeah, she was just really worried. What are you doing? So they're all individuals and they all gain our trust in different ways. So we used lots of positive reinforcement with her to begin with, and tried to just teach her about correct interactions with us, and actually there was no expectation and we weren't going to do anything horrible, and we just took it really steady. She was especially worried around her back end, and anything sort of touch on her back end, any movement towards her back end. She loved being scratched and she loved food. So yeah, we just took it really slowly with her and built our trust and relationship, and yeah, she came on really well.
So today we've had a guilty plea from the owners of Faith, and this is not your sort of run-of-the-mill situation. We've got somebody who is guilty of attacking and abusing a horse, and we've also got a person who is guilty of what's known as owner permitting. So the person that attacked Faith isn't actually the owner. The owner sat outside the stable whilst this prolonged attack happened and didn't intervene in any way, shape or form. And in the eyes of the law, that means that owner is permitting that attack to happen. They had a responsibility to protect their animal and they failed to do that. And English law just doesn't tolerate that kind of behaviour. So today we've had the sentence passed in the case of Faith, who's a New Forest cross pony, and it's disappointing that the courts have felt that this was the sentence they needed to pass in these circumstances. I think it highlights that there is more work to be done with our justice system for them to appreciate how serious these offences are, and also the long-term knock-on effect that this will have on Faith, even with all the work that the farm have done and the rehabilitation that she's been going through. It will still have long-term consequences for her, so it's disappointing that the court haven't been able to recognise that today.